How's it going, everyone? Just doing some late night work. My door handle came in the other day, and I wasn't going to do it today because I figured it was going to be super involved pulling out the door card and such, but actually it was a pretty easy job. Let me show you here. Just inside the door here, there's that one Phillips screw. You take that out, and then behind the trim here, there's another Phillips up here, and then you basically just slot the new door handle right in. I mean, it works super easy. So now, this door opens and closes every time. I don't need to like roll the handle up or anything. Everything's nice and snug. The only difference is that I'm not able to change the lock cylinder, so I'll have to use the included keys to lock the driver door, but that's no problem by me. As you can see, now the door's locked. I'll show you the thing real quick here. Unlock it. Boom. Door opens first time. This is really nice. This is the Dorman handle, and it came with some crappy plastic chrome trim. Luckily, I was able to save like stainless trim from the original one, so I just popped that back in. So this is actually a piece of metal, so that fake ass plastic. All right, here we are. It's a beautiful Wednesday, and I decided I'm gonna wrap up the rest of the outside stuff today. So I'm gonna Bondo up the 2 holes that I haven't Bondoed yet. I'm gonna sand back the rest of the Bondo spots. I got a couple of different grits of sandpaper here. I got actual rust dissolver this time instead of converter, so this is gonna get sprayed on the heavily rusted parts. And then depending on how big the spot is, it's either gonna get more of the rust converter spray here, and then I also got the stuff that's the consistency of paint, so I can paint it on for small little things, small little strips. But yeah, that's my goal today. In addition to that, I have just 2 other small jobs, which is to put the splash guard back on the bottom, which that'll get sprayed down with the rust converter. And what was my other thing? Oh, I found a washer that was on the upper half of the timing cover that I didn't put back on the other day by mistake, so luckily I found that, and I'm just going to put that back on. Here she is. I suppose she'll now be called the cow car, because all the black spots. Wherever there's the paint here, there's either bare metal or surface rust. And the point is not for it to look pretty right now. The point is to stop the thing from rusting. So I covered all the rust spots here in the front. I think I was kind of overestimating my abilities today when I thought I was going to get the whole car done. It's actually quite a bit of work. So I Bondoed up these 2 holes. They just need to dry a little bit more and they can be sanded down. Let's show you the one round back. And you've got this one round back, which I just put a second layer of Bondo on. To plug it up properly, that needs to set for, you know, at least a half an hour. And then also I hit up the splash guard on the underside just to keep that from rusting as well. Like I said, the whole object of this paint job is not to make it look pretty, but to keep the damn thing from rusting out from under me. Alright, I just stopped at the auto parts store, picked up some fuses, because all the fuses are in the wrong place on the Volkswagen. I'll just give it new fuses too, this is like 12 bucks or whatever. Just give them all brand new fuses. Got a rear view mirror kit, and also made a little interesting discovery today. So I was searching through the car for any additional trash, and I found this plastic Telefunken module about yay big, and it has 7 pins on the inside of it. So I knew it had to plug into something. I did a little bit of research. It turns out that it's the ignition control module. And symptoms of a faulty ignition control module include intermittent start problems, or I should say intermittent no start, intermittent stalling when running, intermittent hard starting, and also after intermittent stalling, it needs like a cool down period of 5 minutes, and then the car will turn back on again. And all 4 of those are symptoms that I've been experiencing. So if the ignition wire comes tomorrow and it's still doing weird starting things, I think I'm going to swap the ignition control module. I really need to find a way to test it first, because it is kind of a pricey part. I really would prefer to know if I actually need it, or if I'm just throwing parts at it. So I need to find a way to test the ignition control module, and then if that's definitely it, then I'll swap that out, and then the car should run perfectly. All right, I've mounted in a rear view mirror mount so I can actually see out the back. I applied the adhesive, and there's the bracket, and so now this has to sit for 24 hours. So I'll come back, it's like 4:30, so I'll come back 4:30 tomorrow, put the rear view on and adjust it, and then I'll actually be able to see what's behind me without turning around. Additionally, as you can see here, I put in all new fuses. There were all kinds of fuses that were the wrong size. They were either 5 amps over or 5 amps under, which is not good either way. Obviously, if it's under, your module won't be getting the correct amount of amperage to run all the way, and then if it's too much, it can send down too much amperage by mistake and fry a piece. So now all the fuses are actually the correct size and in the right spot. We got a rear view. I'm just going to take you on a quick little exterior tour of the cow car now. Same thing with the front happened with the roof. There was just so much rust and so few spots that it was just easier for me to paint the front. But the sides and the back weren't so bad, so those I literally did just spot. As you can see, the most likely rust areas were the seams, and then I don't know if you go back and you look at some of the older videos, there's these blue streaks coming down the side. It's almost like it was in a chemical bath or something, and it was stripping the paint. You can kind of see it here, but it was rubbing it down to bare metal here, so it got covered there. Actually, it looks kind of good in black, doesn't it? But no, it's getting painted Mars red when I eventually pony up the cash to bring it to a paint shop to get it done properly. There's not a single rust spot left on the car. I would challenge you to find a rust spot on the car. Excluding the wiper blades, that's not part of the body. But I dare you to find one piece of rust on the body now that all the holes have been bondoed and painted. Also, a set of triple squares came in the mail today, and that's just nice for when you're working on something that you need triple square for, which is basically a 12-point bolt, but turned into a bit. Kind of in the same way that an Allen is a regular 6-sided bolt that's inverted. This is the same thing. This is just a 12-point bolt that's been inverted, which really comes in handy for if you've rounded off an Allen. Or you think that you rounded off an Allen. Here we are, the new ignition wire just came in from Eurosport, so let's go pop this in the car and see if she fires up, huh? There's the ignition wire installed in the car now. She's cranking fine, but she is not starting. And I just checked the resistance values on the ignition coil, and I can't get a good primary resistance reading, but the secondary resistance reading is within spec. So I guess next to check is the ignition control module. All right, as I said, I checked the primary and secondary resistances on the ignition coil, and those seem to be fine. The wires are all brand new because the wires actually came in a set, so I got a new ignition wire and 4 new spark plug wires. The fuel pump is not kicking on when I turn the ignition. I checked the fuel pump relay fuse. That is not broken. So clearly one of the fuel pumps just went, but I'm not too sure about either of these ignition control modules either. So I'm going to bring these to the auto store tomorrow to get them tested and see if one of them is good. This Telefunken one I'm pretty sure is bad because that was the one that was already removed from the car. But I'm not too sure about this Hugo one either. So I'll bring it to the store. They'll plug it in. They'll tell me if it's bad. And clearly now I need a new fuel pump as well. So the repairs just keep stacking up on this car.